Today, we'll take a look into the unique world of Virgo. Virgo doesn't seek revenge, no. She creates order, and other people's negativity returns to the sender like a boomerang. Sound intriguing? Let's figure out how it works. Imagine Virgo as a master watchmaker. She meticulously dissects hostile intentions, screw by screw. Instead of abstract evil, she sees the rust of habits, distorted motivations, and even a trace of other people's complexes. She knows exactly which bolt to unscrew to free herself from this burden. As a result, all the poison and insults snap, like a wire without power. But that's not all. Virgos are true skeptics. They don't pounce on information until they've verified it themselves. Brought you gossip? It won't work. Virgo moves from question to fact, from fact to proof. They are independent thinkers who use steely arguments instead of emotions. Now let's move on to the important point. When Virgos are hurt or lied to, they don't give in to provocation. No, they break things down like a true psychologist. Everything said and done becomes transparent, like cloudy glass, dissolving all the darkness. Now, about how they act beyond just defensiveness. Virgos aren't afraid to express their opinions about toxic people, and they do so directly and confidently. Virgos are people with strong personalities. They are self-assured and rely on facts and common sense, which makes them resilient in any situation. Yes, you heard that right. Virgos are no pushovers. They know how to hold their ground. Yes, they may choose the peaceful path, but if they're backed into a corner, they won't back down. And there's no need for shouting or rudeness. One precise, well-thought-out word from a Virgo is enough to put their opponent in their place. Their strength lies in their clear logic and ability to speak in a way that simply leaves no room for aggression. But the purity with which they work is nothing less than acid. It corrodes other people's lives. Virgos don't argue or waste time on proof. They simply live by the rules of clarity. Speak directly, keep their word, verify the facts. And next to this simple order, any negativity begins to bubble and peel like old paint. First, one beautiful myth cracks. Then the second layer peels away, hints, half-truths, convenient versions. And in the end, what remains is the bare metal of actions, revealing who really did what. When the masks fall, deception can no longer cling to the surface. It breaks away and returns to where it came from. And here's what's interesting. Virgos see cause and effect relationships where many see only coincidences. For them, there are no empty coincidences. Every word, pause, forgetfulness, or misunderstanding, all are links in a single chain. They mentally place dots on a timeline and connect them. Who wanted what steps were taken, where it was advantageous to pretend it was just luck. The questions are simple, but they reveal the essence. Who benefits? What is repeated? Where agreements were broken? When the chain is assembled, the fog and excuses disappear. It becomes clear where the negativity came from and how it moved. Now let's talk about how Virgo fights toxic people. Did you know that Virgo strikes with precision? With a single word, she can transform someone else's poison into their own weapon? Without emotion or shouting, simply a fact, carefully extracted, like a needle from a knot. At this moment, your poison turns against you, because the truth is not on your side. Her phrase is short but penetrating. Who promised? Who broke it? Where the meaning is inverted, where the advantage lies hidden. After such a blow, there is nothing to argue about. Everything is on the table, all moves are visible, and everyone is responsible for their own. But that's only part of her strategy. Virgo doesn't hold grudges. She draws conclusions. These conclusions are like chains on demons. The habit of humiliation, manipulation, and someone else's penchant for drama. She learns from her mistakes. She got burned once, wrote down a rule. The second time she noticed a pattern, closed the loophole. And there are no vengeful plans, only clear decisions. With whom to speak, about what, and under what conditions. Evil doesn't accumulate in Virgo. It bounces back and returns to its source. Another powerful Virgo strategy is silence. This silence becomes a true barrier. Virgo's silence is more powerful than any word. It is there that negativity loses its context. She doesn't give in to provocations, doesn't fuel arguments with emotion, and never makes excuses. Next to her calm, other people's barbed remarks lose their bearing, like a sound in an echoless room. Once spoken, it immediately fades. Negativity is stripped of its history, its beautiful justifications, and its loud intonations, leaving only the bare meaning, which doesn't seem so powerful. And so all this evil unfolds and returns to the one who released it. And finally, its power is healing energy. It doesn't respond to evil with evil, but carefully closes the wound. It stops the bleeding, relieves inflammation, and restores sensitivity to the truth. Virgo breathes deeply, acknowledges the fact, calls the pain by its name, and thus deprives aggression of nourishment. When the inner world is quiet and calm, foreign poison cannot find its place. It has nowhere to penetrate, nothing to cling to. Me. Negativity becomes an empty arrow, falls harmlessly, and returns to its author. Now about another interesting and perhaps less obvious aspect of Virgo, her cold compassion. This amazing quality helps Virgo not only let go of people, but also retain important lessons. Virgo doesn't revel in revenge or cling to the past. She simply draws a line where respect and meaning end, calmly calls a spade, returns responsibility to where it belonged, and closes the door. At this moment, evil intent doesn't disappear. It unfolds with the realization, this is what you did. This is what it led to. Her kindness isn't about forgiving everything, but about healthy boundaries and honest feedback. Virgo desires not punishment, but sobriety. That's why someone else's darkness returns to its sender with a clear understanding of the consequences. Virgo also always notices the language of fog and attempts at deception. If she hears phrases like never or urgent, no questions asked, it's a signal to her. The reaction is simple. Slow down. Please be specific. What, by when, within what parameters? If the answer is still vague, Virgo shifts the conversation to a different format. Without specifics, conflict with people of this sign doesn't escalate. It diverts back to the initiator. No transparency means no trust. And when someone avoids communication, asks not to bring it up in the chat, or avoids specifics, Virgo turns on her doubts. She also understands that silence doesn't always mean agreement. All of these Virgo tools are used against toxic people, or even bounce off them like dust. If you've responded well, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. In the comments, tell us which Virgo technique you'd like to explore with examples. We'll continue.